The movie begins in the Heavenly Palace where the Monkey King, Sun Wukong, stands alone with a great victory after a fight against the whole heavenly army. However, his defiance angered the great Buddha and imprisons him inside an ice cap deep within the Mountain of Five Elements. After 500 years, a group of travelers journey on the cliffs of a mountain when a group of mountain trolls suddenly attack and ends up terminating everyone. But one survived the attack, a baby boy who is later found by a monk drifting on the river. The monk tries to convince some villagers to take the boy, but no one accepts, so adopts the boy and raises him as his own. He names the child Zhang Liur. In the present time, Liur now lives in a small village with the monk who also serves as his teacher, telling him the things he needs to learn as a monk. One day, the same mountain trolls who attacked the travelers several years ago seize the village and start to kidnap 49 young children. When the trolls are about to get the last one, Liur throws flower pots onto the troll and saves the little girl. The monk follows Liur as he runs with the baby while the mountain trolls chase them down around the village and into the mountains. Liur was able to evade them throughout the night. The next morning, a group of mountain groundhogs helps Liur pick up some peaches when one of the trolls appears from the bushes and chases him to the top of the tree where he escapes into a small opening of a cave. Inside, he stumbles upon a huge ice cap in a cavern lined with statues of the Buddha on its walls. The ice cap is surrounded by frozen chains. He carefully walks toward the ice cap to examine it. He sees a protruding hand and touches it. The ice begins to form cracks extending into the walls of the cavern. The chains snap and the ice cap explodes. Liur takes cover as the cavern crumbles. Just then, the mountain trolls have made their way into the cave through the small opening and start to attack Liur. Liur climbs onto one of the chains to avoid them when suddenly, Sun Wukong appears from beneath the debris of the cavern. Turns out, when Liur touches the hand, he accidentally frees the Monkey King from his 500-year-long imprisonment. The trolls attack Sun Wukong, who takes them down one by one with ease. Now that he's finally free, Sun Wukong tries to attack the Heavenly Palace again, but the magical Buddha's chain on his wrist prevents him from doing so. Liur follows him and sees him trying to remove the chain. Liur finds out that he is the legendary Monkey King and greets him. Sun Wukong leaves and attempts to lose Liur and the girl, but the groundhog helps Liur to track him down. Liur starts to ask several questions about the Buddha, but Sun Wukong refuses to talk to him. Every time Sun Wukong attempts to evade him, Liur manages to find him still. Liur mentions Sun Wukong's magical staff, the Jingu Bang, and asks him where it is. Annoyed, Sun Wukong scolds Liur, but the child is clearly not intimidated by his presence. Suddenly, a stone monster appears and declares that the Buddha has ordered him to guard Sun Wukong. With the Buddha's punishment seal, Sun Wukong is not as powerful as before. The stone monster attacks Sun Wukong and corners him at the edge of a cliff. It starts to push Sun Wukong towards the cliff when Liur arrives and attempts to remove the Buddha's seal on its back. Sun Wukong tosses the monster into the cliff with Liur on its back, but it latches on the chain on Wukong's hand. Sun Wukong grabs onto a vine while the monster attempts to get him. Liur manages to remove the seal to undo the Buddha's spell and the monster explodes. Liur falls off the cliff along with the stones from the monster. When Liur wakes up, he finds himself at a campfire with Sun Wukong and the girl. Sun Wukong has saved him. As Wukong tries to remove the Buddha's punishment chain, Liur explores the forest around them. Deep in the woods, Liur finds an abandoned temple where he comes across Pixie, who is disguised as the Buddha. Pixie begins to steal their food and later reveals his true appearance as the pig demon, the Pagoda King. Pixie turns out to be a war god whom Sun Wukong defeated in the heavenly battle 500 years ago, and got reincarnated as a pig. Sun Wukong leaves while Pixie transforms into a cat whom Liur follows in the opposite direction as Sun Wukong. When Liur spots Wukong, he grabs Pixie and informs Wukong that Pixie wants to challenge him. In the end, Pixie joins the group although Wukong is hesitant. Suddenly, a white dragon appears and attempts to scare them off. Wukong orders the others to stay still. The white dragon leaves a territorial impression before it eventually flies away. After Wukong scolds Liur and Pixie, whom he attempts to throw on the cliff, they journey through the mountains where they eventually find an inn to stay overnight. Inside, they meet the owners of the inn, a man and a woman. Liur informs them that they plan to stay for the night, and the woman leads them to a room upstairs where the group settles in for bed. In the middle of the night, Pixie sneaks into the kitchen to steal some food. The man, however, sees him and is about to hit him with a rake, but Pixie accidentally knocks him out. Pixie panics as he sees the woman approaching from outside, so he disguises himself as the man. The woman then invites him to the table and tells him her concerns about Wukong as to why their master warns them about him when he doesn't even look strong. Her arm turns green, which reveals that the owners are trolls in disguise. Pixie suddenly gets triggered to sneeze, so he proceeds to go into another room, but the woman stops him. When he sneezes, he transforms into his original self, which angers the woman. When she is about to attack Pixie, Wukong appears and kicks her out of the inn. Suddenly, dark clouds begin to form in the skies and trolls appear from a portal surrounding them. Lior comes out of the room and the trolls attack him. Wukong fights off the trolls, preventing them to kidnap the little girl. He then instructs Pixie to save the kids while he deals with the trolls. When Wukong has solely defeated the trolls, Hun Dun, the master of the trolls, appears and sends another army of red-colored trolls to stop the group from fleeing. Wukong sets the sail of a boat for their escape and grabs a bamboo stick before fighting the trolls. While Wukong tries to fend off the trolls alone, Lior along with the little girl and Pixie boards the boat. Wukong follows and destroys the trolls trying to get into the boat using the bamboo stick. The boat steers off the port away from the trolls, but Hun Dun appears and grabs the little girl. Wukong tries to stop Hun Dun, but with the Buddha's chain, he is no match for his opponent. Hun Dun defeats Wukong and flies away with the girl before setting the boat on fire. Wukong, Pixie, and Lior wake up on a coast the next morning. Wukong stands and attempts to leave, but Lior stops him to ask for help in saving the little girl. When Wukong refuses, Lior leaves to save the girl alone. In the woods, Lior comes across two trolls talking about a ceremony for their master. He tails them deep within the mountain where Hun Dun prepares to sacrifice all the children to make his power stronger and to gain immortality. Lior sneaks into the lair, but the trolls from the inn see him. Lior's mentor, Fa Ming, arrives and helps Lior. Just as they reunite, the floor breaks and they fall into the cavern where Hun Dun prepares the ceremony. They manage to latch onto the cage where the children are kept. The cage spins around the cavern until its rope snaps and falls near the cauldron. It continues to roll through an exit, and eventually stops at the edge of a cliff. Hun Dun grabs Lior by the neck, but the white dragon suddenly appears and attacks Hun Dun and the trolls, saving Lior before it disappears into the skies. Wukong and Pixie also arrive to save the children. Wukong realized how important he is to the people of the village, especially to Lior, who thinks of him as their protector. A fight between Wukong and Hun Dun ensues. Without his true magical powers, Wukong is having a hard time defeating Hun Dun, who proves to be more powerful than he currently is. In an intense fight on the support of a wooden bridge, Wukong grabs Hun Dun and manages to outpower him as the floor collapses. Hun Dun falls into the cliff. They start to celebrate, but a solar eclipse occurs which transforms Hun Dun into a gigantic beast. The beast emerges from the cliff and starts to climb to attack them. Fa Ming grabs the cage and flees with the children as the beast rampages, trying to capture them. The cage breaks and Fa Ming, along with Lior and the rest of the children, hides on a small ledge behind a rock. As the beast approaches them, Wukong manages to halt it, giving Fa Ming and the children the chance to hide inside a narrow cave. Lior insists to go back and face the beast, but Fa Ming grabs him by the hand in an attempt to stop him. Fa Ming eventually realizes that Lior is destined to be what he really wants, to fight off evil. He tells Lior to be careful before he leaves to help Wukong. Lior finds that Wukong is being pinned to a wall by the beast. Wukong tells Lior to go back as he wants to save them, but Lior refuses. Wukong's heart flutters when he hears Lior says that he is going to protect him even though he is immortal. Lior grabs a wooden stick and throws it into the beast's mouth to get its attention in order to save Wukong. The beast relinquishes its grip on the rock and starts to chase Lior down. Lior ends up on a narrow bridge. As the monster approaches, he jumps onto the other side, leaving the monster behind. However, he has nowhere else to run and gets cornered on a ledge. Wukong breaks free from the rock and follows. He runs on the beast's back to save Lior, but he is already late. He sees how Lior gets crushed by the beast's hand as he falls into the cliff. Wukong rushes in to find Lior and sees Lior's hand from beneath the rocks before eventually passing away. He cries as he shouts the boy's name, who he now treats as a friend. Devastated, Wukong breaks the Buddha's seal and regains his original superpowers as the Monkey King. His armor starts to form on his body, revealing his true power. He pulls his legendary staff, the Jingu Bang, from his ears and prepares to attack Hun Dun. With his super speed, he slices Hun Dun's arms off before dealing another blow once again into its chest. He circles Hun Dun and lifts him into the air. He defeats Hun Dun with respect to his friend, Lior. The movie ends as Sun Wukong stands on top of the mountain and a familiar voice calls upon his name. Lior is alive, and the children get to reunite with their own families.